ready to take us online and then let me do my countdown?
Yep, we're ready. So it's episode. What episode is it? That's a good question. Yep, it's 433.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 433. 33 is a lucky number if you're into numerology. So once again, 33 is prosperity. So hopefully today's show will help all of you out there have a little bit more prosperity. So that's the dream, that's the goal, that's the desire. So we're going to talk about writing tools that use large language models, other words known or currently collectively being referred to as AI. And most of them are probably using some kind of like open chat GPT kind of backend, because not everybody has the ability to develop a large language model. So most likely all of these services are using a similar backend to create performance. John has used all these tools in complete transparency. I've only used one or two when I glanced at the list. So he's probably going to be leading our discussion. And since he is going to be our fearless leader for this show, John, I was hoping that you would just introduce yourself.
Oh, thanks, Rob. I'm the joint founder of mel-right.com. We build beautiful websites for real estate agents. We also offer a CRM, email and text messaging, landing pages, and a lot more, all combined in a great platform. Rob, back over to you.
Cool. All right. My name is Robert Newman. I'm the founder of Inbound REM. It's an SEO company, but really for most of you, you should just go to the website. I will teach you how to do most things related to search engine optimization, such as hyperlocal, all for free. So just go to inboundrem.com and see what I have got going on there. I've been a thought leader for 16 years in space. So hopefully I've got something that would be interesting and worth your time. So John, let's talk about number one on your list, which is probably one of the most popular writing applications. I've never used it, but I've certainly heard of it 5,000 times. Jasper. So let's talk about Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper is one of the leading platforms if you want to write pretty quality content by utilizing AI. I think it's owned by the same people as Href. I think they've put money into this. And it's a pretty slick platform. Does long form articles. I have utilized it. The only thing about it is it's reasonably expensive. It's not ridiculous though. It starts at $49, and then the next, which is called Creator, and the next version is Pro, $69. Basically, it's aimed at teams where you can have different people, but they would have a consistent brand voice. And it's just the UX design, the interface design is pretty slick. One of the slickest of all these type of tools. And the content quality, it optimizes content to be SEO friendly. I'm not going to delve into all that because we could talk about that, and you probably know more about that than me. But it basically goes out there and it finds you can give it a list of keywords, and it will make sure the keywords are in the article, and the quality that it produces is pretty impressive.
So I will make a comment here because you've mentioned some keywords here. So Ahrefs, for those of you that don't know, is probably one of the best regarded SEO analytics tools that's currently available on the market. And it does things like measure how many backlinks that you've got. It does really cool things like properly segment your keywords into what are called semantic keyword groups. It has a very interesting way of measuring domain authority and allowing you to understand or make a guess, a very good guess at how authoritative a domain will be. And then about 4 years ago, they started their own content campaign, which has been extremely good, where they're making content that that is almost bar none some of the best SEO related content that you can get. And all you need to do is subscribe. So it's free content that you get. Obviously, a lot of it leverages their tool. That's their job, is they constantly do educational content that leverages Ahrefs, the tool. Now, I'm mentioning that deep backstory because when they say they're invested, if that's true that they're invested in Jasper, that would seem to imply a vote of confidence in both AI and Jasper in general. Now, my personal experience is that since Google already has the tech for large language models in the form of Bard, they are figuring out ways to penalize large language model content. It's not necessarily spoken, but if you're following along with their updates over the last year, their first way that they addressed these updates was to say, we want to see something on the page that comes directly from the website owner, such as video, because video is not yet to the point that most people can produce a completely AI generated video that looks authentic. So I say all this because John said SEO. Well, we use Jasper for SEO, and you were asking for a lot of potential issues unless you do the following. You need to change, add, or subtract 30% of the text. Everybody listen to me, 30% of the text. And it would be helpful if you added a video that you personally did to the page that you had with Jasper write. It would also be helpful if you added some custom designed, not AI generated, custom designed infographics or interactive elements on the page. Now, as real estate agents, you've got lots of options, mortgage calculators, search bars, all sorts of shit. All of that needs to get done in order for your page to long-term, not today. Today, this recommendation is fine. Like, you could probably use Jasper and do fairly well. But a year from now, I would lay a heavy amount of money on no. So you'd be making a very temporary solution, and then likely you'd have to go back and fix your entire website. I've been there. I've done that. Trust me, it's not worth it. So I haven't used Jasper to see what kind of content that it writes. I'm sure, based on the test that I have done on ChatGPT-4 in general, which I have a video up on that, I'm certain that it's probably really good content, John. They can go out throughout the entire internet and take the very best of everything, which is exactly what it does, and then combine it into a new piece of content. So, of course, it's going to be good. They can take the best of the best and apply it. Now, hopefully, Jasper has an updatable feature, because when I've been noticing that with the LLR models that are currently existing, they grab that information from 2016 and 2017. That's when those designers and developers decided to make like the best of 5 years ago, which is not very useful when you're trying to write cutting edge content. So I'm going to say, be very careful. However, I'm going to give one recommendation. I had to give that whole diatribe because I do know what likely Ahrefs had in mind when they looked at Jasper.
Well, I think they had to go into something like this.
Huh?
I think they were driven by business logic to go in. I think they've made a lot of money from it.
So let's just say that here's the last little thing. Here's what doesn't happen in SEO, and it's reasonable. Everybody usually aims. So if you say a semantic keyword, like for you and me, John, like real estate marketing companies, that's a huge keyword that has like 300 little keywords under it that basically mean the same thing. It's a big semantic keyword. And all of us, you, me, everybody else, we're like top 10 real estate websites, top 10 this, and we're all aiming at the real estate marketing semantic keyword. But somewhere well down that list, like that, if you're tearing out those semantic keywords, somewhere down there, there's like best real estate marketing company for real estate agents that make less than $100,000 a year, as an example. But I've never written an article like that. I doubt you. And if I've never done it, no offense, but I don't think you've ever done it. I don't know of anybody else that's ever done it. It's not just you and me. I don't know anybody else in the industry that's done it, because who would target like a piece of content at some, yet it would be very helpful if we did. if we did write that piece of content, it would be extremely helpful to the people at large. Jasper would help a lot with that, piecing together.
Yeah, I think we've lost most of our quite a bit of our listeners, but I knew that was going to happen. I do agree with you, folks. It's really a great piece of technology, but if you're gonna, I think it's worth looking at, folks, but it's not for the casual use. And I do agree that I wouldn't go crazy with this. I think having some restraint and listening to some of Rob's advice would probably be advised. So have a look at it, but I wouldn't go berserk with it, put it that way.
Thank God you listed Grammarly as number 2. Okay, Grammarly we use, and I've been using for close to 10 years. I have so much experience with this tool.
Yeah, I use it all the time. I use the pro version, folks. Basically, I rely on it. I got the Premier. The Premier is $12 a month, and if you pay yearly, and I think it's 30 monthly. So definitely get your yearly one. It's one of half a dozen online subscriptions. I just pay it without wincing. And they provide a Chrome, a Firefox, I think a couple of other extensions for other popular browsers, but the two, Firefox and Chrome, and Edge, I think Edge as well. So it works on all the leading browsers. They do provide an app that works on PC and Mac, and it really works well. What would you say, Rob?
I would say 100% true. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Grammarly is something I've used, and I used the $12 license, and I loved it. Helped me out. I type too fast, I think too little, and Grammarly smooths out the edges. It's also great for a professional writer because you get a lot of corrections in real time, as if you had like an editor sitting at your desk. It doesn't change everything. It's not perfect, but it's about 80% perfect. I have a huge amount of overseas writers that I put on. I've now paid for a team account, John, which is it's one of my larger SaaS bills at this point, and it's $150 a month. So, and I have 15 people a month using it, I think is what the number is. I don't know. I'm not sure. But we do a lot of writing, obviously. And we are not using AI, but we are using Grammarly. Like, we do a lot on Grammarly. And Grammarly is a form of autocorrection that is kind of like the perfect mix, in my opinion, between AI and yet a real life human being, like writing something, because it will fix it in a standardized way. But at the same time, it does a lot of really compelling things, like what kind of style do you want to write in, engaging, technical, all these great things. I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for a writing tool and you're trying to scale the line between AI and something that's highly like Grammarly, I 2 thumbs up. Let's move on because I took too much time with Jasper. But man, yes, Grammarly, yes. Quillbot.
Yeah.
I've never used this, never even heard of it until you listed it here. So you're going to have to help me out.
Yeah, I use it all the time. I've got the pro version. It's $99. Basically, you can put other people's copy, and it will rewrite it so they can't see that you've just lifted their content. It does a reasonable job. It also checks for plagiarism. If somebody's writing for you, you can take sections of their copy and make sure they just haven't lifted it off somewhere else. And it also has got a reasonably effective AI detection, i.e. you can put copy in that's been done with Jasper and some of the other tools out there, and it will give you it will tell you if it can detect that it was written by AI But my experience, I've used them all, basically, all the AI detection tools. They're all a bit iffy, but this is a reputable, and I use it all the time. And like I say, I pay for the pro version for $99, Rob.
Okay. It sounds like an interesting tool. I have mixed feelings about taking somebody's content and mixing it up to the point that it appears to be original. I only have one idea surrounding everything that I do. It's been my idea for a long time because it was in the original script close to 15, 20 years ago when the two guys that founded Google put it out there, and it was really fascinating because their driving idea behind Google originally was, we just want to be useful. We want to help sort everybody's information and be useful to the end user. And they stuck with that for a long time, and I kind of gravitated towards that mission statement, just be useful. Taking something of somebody else's and regurgitating it is just you saying, I'm going to be useful like this other person was. So you're not really being useful in your own right. You're copying somebody else's usefulness that you like. So I have mixed feelings about that. But what I don't have mixed feelings about is if you think you have something interesting to say on a subject and somebody else has written it out in a way that you find compelling, but you know that your opinion is like a contrarian opinion, or that you have additional elements to add to it. Here's what I would do. I would do a video on top of that edited Quillbot thing, and I would feel pretty okay about it. If I had a lot of unique, interesting things to say as it related to the content that had not been said yet, that I felt would be useful, then by all means, Quillbot sounds amazing.
I want to point out, I don't use it on whole posts. I use it if I'm on maybe one paragraph and I want to quickly use it out of courtesy. I just don't want to lift it, and also I just don't want some snobby little prick emailing me saying they're going to sue me because I dared to copy 2 sentences. I just put it through there and then have a quick check, and it saves me a little bit of time. But I wouldn't lift up because it's not good enough, basically. I also use it because of my dyslexia, because I actually like writing, but one of the tendencies of my own form of dyslexia, and I think people that don't have it also suffer from this, is there are key words that you like to use all the time in your vocabulary and in your written vocabulary, unless you're a very polished writer of a high standard. You tend to have, so you can keep on utilizing the same words. Well, it highlights that and it will swap the word out. So the frequency, because it's a sign of poor writing quality, that your vocabulary, you keep utilizing the same key words. So I use it for that as well. I think it's time for our break, Rob.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back. John and I are going to talk to you about more AI tools. Hopefully there are people that are sticking it out with us. We know we're doing some deep dives. I feel like there's a lot of conditions that go along with them. So we're going to come back with another set of tools and probably conditions, knowing the two of us. But listen, we're excited to have you here. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 433 of the MailRight podcast. We're really excited to have you here. We're talking about AI writing tools, and we just ended with Quillbot, and we're on to number 4 on John's meticulously prepared list. It is Hemingway.
Yeah. Hemingway is a really interesting tool. The free version, you can get away with just utilizing the free version, folks, but I actually pay for the paid version. I want to point out I use all these on a daily or weekly basis Hemingway really helps on the opposite of what I said before the break when it came to Quillbot. Hemingway stops you from being too flowery, as I would say, too wordy with your writing. And a lot of people write too sophisticated. they reckon for your written materials to be really readable in North America, that you should be aiming at a 7th grade level. And Hemingway helps you with that. It will flag up 2-wordy paragraphs and sentence structures. And it will, I think on the paid version, it does a better job of actually giving you alternatives. So it basically will help you write more readable content.
Got you. I don't have anything to add, so we're going to go on to the next one on the list because I've never used Hemingway, never heard of Hemingway before the call started, so I've got very little to add. Now, this next one also I may want to spend a little extra time with, so we're just going to jump into it. SEOwriter.ai.
Yeah, this is going to be the most controversial of this list, I feel.
Okay.
It's a I have used it, and the free product, and what is their prices? Yeah, free for 5 articles. Monthly starter, 50 articles a month, $19. It doesn't do a bad job, actually. It is nowhere near up to the quality of Jasper, but you can, unless you're in the top enterprise level plan with Jasper, you're not going to write. This is a semi-professional tool. It's not a tool that I utilize for its target audience. It's aimed at a certain SEO expert that has thrown their hat in completely. There's a certain group of SEO gurus on YouTube that have promoted this tool quite a lot. It also will produce images for the articles. It does a pretty good job, actually. You do have to check them, though, but it does a pretty good job. And the writing standard, like I say, isn't comparable to the top tools out there. So have a look. I would warn you, have a look at it, but don't listen to Uncle Rob here. Don't go bonkers, because this could get you into some real hot waters. You got to study what you're doing if you're going to go into utilize something like this. So listen to Uncle Rob. So Uncle Rob, what have you got to say about this?
Well, just 10 seconds of looking at this, and it's obviously generated a lot towards what are called affiliate marketers. So affiliate marketers are people that take a product that they want to sell that belongs to somebody else or a service, and they're going to get a percentage, but they're proficient at online marketing, whereas the core service is oftentimes not. Or a dirty little secret of the core services is oftentimes bigger brands want the results that black hat marketing can deliver them, but they can't seek it directly. But what they can do is offer an affiliate commission, and they damn well know that affiliates will go out and do strategies like this, where they create a website in a matter of days and proliferate it with lower quality content, just looking for the opportunity for maybe Google to rank it. They'll do the same with link building. You know, for a couple grand, you can put up an affiliate site, which is still a reasonable amount of money. But when I say put up an affiliate site, you can actually put up 1,000 pages with a decent domain authority. All of it scammy, all of it. I need all of you to hear me. I know where to go to get like scammy links. They work for like 60 days. and then they start to fall off, and then it gets bad. And some websites will be blacklisted. If you're an affiliate marketer, you don't care. It's a risk worth taking, because you can put up 10 of these because a successful affiliate marketer will be making millions. And so putting up 10 of these sites for the right offer, using a tool like this, no problem. And it's a great tool for them. And if it like just generates medium value content, for the average person, I'm sorry, John, I would say stay away from this.
Yeah, I was in maybe I shouldn't put it on the list because I'm just tempting people. I just use it, and then I use other tools to rewrite what it's rewritten, and then I give it a good read myself, and I manipulate it. But there's other people that do know what they're talking about. There's a whole group of SEO experts that I religiously follow on YouTube, and some of them have got themselves into some hot water with Google going down this route. But it's out there; it can't be denied. So I thought it's best that we discuss it. I got your input about it.
Yeah, like I'm all about, like, I don't agree with what Google says about link building. I think that certain PBNs are probably pretty good. Like, I could go on and on. I don't disagree with Google though, because we're racing to the bottom using AI tools. And my frame of mind is simple. I understand large language models. They operate off what has been done in the past. That's it. And that's great. But if you are a person who has thoughts that do not rely upon everybody that came before you, this is terrible. And everybody's going to be stealing from you continuously, nonstop, because you're the thought leader.
Yeah, I see where you're coming. I won't deny. I've got to be frank about it, but that's the internet, Rob. In the WordPress space, there's a leading company that has purchased over 30 of the leading WordPress plugins out there. The owner is somebody I don't particularly like, and he's built a whole grey network of linked websites.
Mm-hmm.
And Google gives still the articles on all his websites are very low quality content, and they all recommend the plugins that he has bought. And Google, but on almost any search on any WordPress topic, his network of linked websites will be in the top 1, 2, 3 of what comes up. And
there's another company out there in the real estate space, started by 2 Google engineers in the search category, no less, and it's called Condomania. Not condom, condo. And you guys can look it up there in Arizona, Scottsdale. They've done the same thing, John. They've done it effectively for a long time. What that tells me, since they used to work for Google, is that there's just no way for Google to catch certain things, which is a PBN, which is what you just described, private blog network. You own all the websites in a very large chain. There are some efforts that you have to take to make them undistinguishable to Google, and I'm not going to put those online in a public format since I am an SEO and I don't want Google to blacklist all my stuff. But I'm just simply going to say there's ways to do it, and you guys can all research that yourself if you have any interest.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the idea. In general, it's the abuse of a good idea. Like, if I own 15 websites because I own 15 companies and I decide I want to link my companies together, I don't see anything wrong.
No, he's not doing any. Some people in the WordPress community have called it black hat. I don't like the individual, but he's not doing anything black hat. It's grey, and he's not doing anything illegal. If he was doing things black hat, it's not illegal. It might get you into trouble with Google, but it's not. And we're still not in the situation that Google is the state. But there we go. On to the next thing.
Yeah. So we're into bonus time here, folks. I'm going to give some final thoughts on this if I remember, if we have the time. But we have 2 more items on our list that John painstakingly researched and placed here. Runway and DALL-E 3 are the 2 that are remaining. So we're going to talk about those. John's going to lead those conversations because I've used neither one of them. John, go ahead and start us off with Runway.
Yeah, Runway's amazing. It helps you break up videos like this video. I could use Runway and it would suggest natural breaks. So it would break the video into 10, 20 videos. It would put captions on the video. And I could use it for TikTok, for Instagram. It has tools that you can put in a small script and it will make a video. It will actually it will produce a video out the prompt that you put in, and it will produce, and it does a lot more. And for $15 for the standard and $35 for the pro, and they do unlimited for $95. If you're into video, and you should be as a real estate agent, I think this is one of the bargains that you should definitely buy, because it will help you produce a lot more video that you can utilize on a lot of different platforms, Rob.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. What?
Jesus Christ, I cannot escape it. Forgive me.
Yeah,
I cannot escape.
He's been pursued. He's been pursued by clients today, folks. So let's end the last one so Rob can go get a gun and shoot himself. Dell E3.
Yeah.
Dell E3. Well, it's not got the most intuitive interface. A lot of these image generators using AI technology, there's a couple others that got god awful interfaces. This is one of the, I wouldn't say it's intuitive, but it's usable. And you have to put in prompts, and you probably will have to adapt the prompt. But for what it does, for the price, which is $20 a month, it does a pretty good job, actually. But I wouldn't say any of these AI image generators are the most intuitive when it comes to interface design, Bob. But this is one of the better ones.
Awesome. So here's my closing thoughts on just some stuff that we were talking about earlier as it relates to Google. I just want to be clear with everybody. Listen, I live in this world, I breathe in this world. I own Google stock. I work with it in the Google space. But I got to tell you, any big corporation, when it gets large enough, like there's all sorts of rules that are in these algorithms that actually impact Google favorably. Like they design certain elements to successfully promote other Google service and tools. Some of it's logical, some of it's a little scurrilous. Google is a big corporation. I understand the way their tech works better than most people. And here's the thing, some of the time they need to make big, broad rules that affect like very specific bad actors, people that have access to thousands of people, and they're going to proliferate the internet with PBNs that are just horrendous and ruin all of our experiences when it comes to search. And I understand that. But when you're talking about a small handful of high quality websites that try to provide some small amount of value each one, if you can make it happen, my opinion is you should. Google certainly makes every single thing happen for themselves that they possibly can. And there's nothing to say that we as entrepreneurs can't. Where you need to be very careful is the things that they're looking at heavily that are going to get your website blacklisted. Once that happens, it is next to impossible to reverse that process. So if you're investing tens of thousands of dollars or years worth of your time into something, you do not want to run the risk. That's my opinion. I'll stick with it every single day and twice on Sunday. It's not worth it. Look at some of these tools through that lens. If you've got a huge investment, I wouldn't mess around with almost anything on the list except Grammarly, because why risk it? There's a very small chance sometime in the future that an LLR scan will happen, but it's not impossible. Guys, we don't know if OpenAI will open source their code. Developers are insane people. You just don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what Sam Altman's going to do. He's not your typical entrepreneur. Pay attention to who these people are that run these shops. Like, it's really important, because if you're making a big investment on the back of their tech, what can happen is that you're going to get boned, very similar to the way a lot of people are getting boned with Elon Musk, because he is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He's got a lot of mental and emotional issues going on that impact his decision making. And for a very long time, they impacted his businesses in a positive way. Now they're not at all. And so the same thing can happen with this AI stuff. And you just have to be, in my
Yeah,
opinion, cautious about it, because you could go down with the ship if you make a big enough investment in this area. And that's all
yeah,
I want to say, John.
yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't disagree with the fundamentals. I think you can utilize these products, folks, and it will be beneficial. But on the other hand, I do agree with Rob. Don't. There are certain voices in the real estate industry that will say everything can be done with these. I don't use it that way, and I'm more gun ho about all this than Rob is. But I do agree with Rob. Caution would be the better road and valor here, because I'm reasonably cautious about it, Rob. I mix it up with a lot of unique content, and I've been quite cautious about. For me, cautious. But so I agree. I think it's time to end the show, Rob.
ladies and gentlemen, one way or the other, this is a subject that, in most cases, John and I are pretty close, and we're not like on opposite ends on this subject, but we're a little farther than we usually are. I do use AI. I think that AI is the wave of the future. Don't disagree with any of that. I think that we're in the frontier days of this stuff, and I think that making massive, huge, gigantic decisions when you're in the wild, wild west of a burgeoning technology is always risky. Same thing with crypto. Same thing with this. When it becomes established, less risky. You should learn about it. You should understand how it works. I endorse all those things. You should test these tools. I'm just saying, don't lean on them in 100%. You should do what John has done, and especially if you're in John's situation. And then I specifically changed my recommendation to absolutely, these are life changing. Like if you have a learning disability, a speaking disability, a reading disability, like I can go on and on, a visual disability. If you stutter and you're trying to get stuff done on video, then he made a great recommendation for Runway. I don't know if that will work or not, but if you have an impediment to communication, then I'm like, go all in.
I've got a double impediment. I'm English and dyslexic. So I'm doubled buggers, aren't I, Rob?
John, why don't you go ahead and tell people how to reach you? You've been a great leader into this show. You handled me with kid gloves as usual.
It's not that. It's fundamentally, I do, caution. If you invested a ton of money, you've hired people like Robert and his team, and you've invested a load of money, time, and energy, I would strongly advise you not to bother with some of these tools. I use it, but I have done a lot of study, put a lot of effort in utilizing all these tools. But even I back off because I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. So just be aware. But there are, like I say, there's other people in this industry. They will tell you that it will solve all your problems, utilize everything on everything you do. And they're just telling you a load of crap, folks. The best way to contact me is just go to the mel-wright.com website, have a look, have a read. Got plenty of content on there, videos, blah, blah, blah. And you can also book a chat with me. Back over to you, Rob.
Okay. All right. So if you'd like to follow me or learn like what my thoughts are, there's lots of ways to thread the needle, lots of applications for AI. I'm not saying there is no applications. I'm just saying caution. Like, and if you want to follow along with me and see what I've got to say on the subject as I do more research, as we go to inboundrem.com, you can find my YouTube channel, subscribe to me there, subscribe to our newsletter. I think that we do a lot of interesting things in terms of what we're talking about. I've already talked about ChatGPT. I've talked about AI. I've talked about the NAR settlement. I've talked about all sorts of stuff. And I'm committed to talking about something new every Thursday after we do the show. I've got some thoughts. I'm going to get off this thing, and then I'm going to record those thoughts. And then next week, you'll see them. John's been propelling us towards conversations around AI, and I deeply appreciate him as a person and a co-host, because it's the dominant conversation that you all are hearing. I think that I have a very unusual view on it, is that everything that's dominant usually goes like excitement phase, excitement phase, complete and utter crash. Like the government hasn't gotten involved in this yet. Google hasn't really formulated its like staunch response to AI yet. It's all happened so fast, becomes such a common part of the daily vernacular, everybody forgets it's less than a year old. So like let's display a little bit of wisdom and caution based on the past. That's it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, bye.